Good morning. If you all will take your seats, and we need your attention. At this time, we're going to be convening our Drainage District Board of Directors meeting for today, June the 5th, 2012. Present our Commissioners Quintanilla, Palacios, and myself. We have a quorum. The first issue is our consent agenda. Any concerns with our consent agenda?
None, sir. Everything's in order.
Move to approve.
Second. Judge.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
You skipped open forum.
Yeah, no, I'm going to get this.
We do have somebody signed up for open forum, Judge.
Yes, I was just remembering it, that we have somebody signed up.
Yes, sir.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. This time we would call on Dr. Adams, Dorothy Adams.
I have a short PowerPoint for you.
Can you get in front of that speaker, please?
I will. I would like to discuss the drainage ditch on the east side of Old La Blanca Road and the west side of Old La Blanca Road, a sewer line that is to be going in on the west side instead of the east. And the questions, due to the fact there's an available drainage ditch on the east side of Old La Blanca Road, plus the sewage line coming out of Adami Elementary actually is on the east side. Why is there the determination to put a sewage line on the west side of the road where water, telephone, and irrigation lines run on the west side of the road? In addition, the AT&T, the telephone lines run there too. The additional right-of-way in front of the properties of 547 and 5119 of an additional 10 feet was never bought from the owner, Dr. Dorothy Adams. This is the ditch on the east. That is a 6-foot-tall man standing down in the weeds with a stick, holding up a stick. That's the ditch that's already on the east side of the road. It runs from Adami Elementary to 10.5 Mile Road. And there's me standing down in that same ditch, and you can't see me. And the ditch at the corner, there's one driveway, and then at the corner of 10.5 Mile Road in Old La Blanca, there is a rather tall man standing in that ditch. And the ditch, looking down the road all the way to Adami, there are no obstacles to using that to lay the sewer line. Sewer line's already on the east side of the road at Adami, and claims in May were made that there were more driveways on the east than the west. That is not the case. None are seen. Construction is underway as of 4th June 2012 because there's 6 driveways and a road on the west side of Old La Blanca. Boring will be used to go from the existing east Adami to the west. And my previous fear that our ability to move vehicles in and out of our homes may be resolved by this action. However, the placement of a sewer line next to a potable water line is still a real concern. Here's the boring truck. And there's the construction going on. We're facing south now from 5119. My daughter, who lives at 5119, she is suffering from a fatal disease. So we need to be able to get in and out. And this is where they're boring under to go underneath the road at Old La Blanca. And we're looking again now north. And here is the water line. The water line is approximately 50 years old. The last time any digging was done next to the water line, it broke. And there is a requirement that the sewage line has to be a minimum of 9 feet from the water line. And if they run parallel, if my memory serves me, then they'll have to be at least 4 feet deeper than the water line. The problem is the right-of-way was never purchased for me where they will have to put that line 9 feet in from the water line. So that puts it in contested property that Hidalgo County has never legally acquired from me. Executive summary: unnecessary placement of sewage line in close proximity to potable water line. Answer: the North Alamo Water and Rio Delta Engineering plan to place the lines 9 feet apart. Sewer lines near water lines remain a clear and present danger. The depth for parallel sewer and water lines must be within state requirements, which, as far as I was able to read the documentation, is 4 feet deeper than the water line. Placement of a sewer line is on land not acquired from the owner by Hidalgo County. The right-of-way is of yet unresolved. The problem that was stated to me by the workers was that there is a concern from drainage from the new colonia that's been placed across the street. The drainage ditch has to be deep. Well, it does not have to be 6 feet deep. And then the second thing that I was told was that they have to move heavy equipment into that ditch. They do not. I've lived there 6 years, and I have never seen a piece of heavy equipment in that ditch. They mow, and that is it. So the sewer line could be placed in that drainage ditch and then covered over, and it's a closed line. It could be covered over, leaving the drainage ditch 4 feet deep, and that would accommodate any drainage from that colonia, which is approximately level. There is only a 1-degree angle on that land. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, item number 4.
Item number 4, approval of the 2012 Hidalgo County Drainage System 1 investment policy. We have somebody from Norma Garcia's office to make that presentation.
Good morning. Alfredo Samarripa, Chief Deputy with the Treasurer's Office. We're presenting this investment policy. It mirrors the one we brought to Commissioner's Court on May 22nd. Legal counsel reviewed that one, and this one just, like I said, mirrors that one.
Move to approve.
Exactly the same as the one
Yes.
presented. Second.
All right, those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Judge, Commissioners, we have no item under closed session unless the board wishes to entertain.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you very much,
sir.
Judge, Commissioners.
This time we convene a regular Hidalgo County Commissioners Court meeting for today, June the 5th, 2012. Present are Commissioners Quintanilla, Palacios, and myself. We have a quorum. Please join us in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us bow our heads, please. Almighty God, we come together today for the good of the citizens of Hidalgo County. Give us your wisdom as we make decisions that will affect them today and the years to come. Help us to work well together, recognizing that each of us are here because we want what is best for Hidalgo County. We ask for your blessing and your guidance. In your name we pray, O Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any concerns with the consent agenda, Mr. Ocasio?
Yes, Judge. I would like to request that consent agenda item 6B and 9A be pulled for discussion.
Do we have
6B and 9A.
Need a motion to approve subject to those two?
Move to approve, subject to those two.
a second?
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. What is 6B about, sir?
Let me get that for you, Judge.
NACO dues, Judge. Item 6B is for NACO dues. Mr. Eufrasio does have a concern. He's listing that NACO actively lobbies, and there is a restriction that we cannot pay any type of membership dues or any type of fees into an organization that does lobbying.
Judge,
Can you read the caption, please?
yes, the caption reads as follow. Approval to pay 2012 Hidalgo County annual membership dues with authority for the county treasurer to issue check after review, audit, and processing procedures are completed by the county auditor for the following. NACO, 10,420, South Texas County Judges and Commissioners Association, 300. Judge, in the supporting documentation for the NACO payment indicates that NACO is involved in lobbying Congress on behalf of counties. And I would like for legal counsel to determine whether or not that is permissible to pay the NACO.
I would have to see the documents.
I'm sorry?
I would have to see the documents that
Okay.
you're referring to.
Yeah, I don't have them with me. They're attached to the agenda, but there's some wording in the supporting documentation to that effect.
Is this time sensitive, Baldi?
No, we can wait one more week for clarification from legal
Tell me,
counsel.
what is NACO? What does it do?
National Association of
Counties.
Counties, right? National Association of Counties.
And
We've done this before, though, right?
every
Yes,
year, right?
Yes,
Every
to
year?
my knowledge, we have done this in the past, yes, sir. This has been looked at in the past
How long now have we been doing this?
for
How much of the
commissioner
dues,
for.
Bud? How much of the membership dues? What is the amount?
Oh,
1,420, Judge?
right. It's shy of $1,500. 1,400 and, what was it, Mr. Fresno?
10,420.
Have you questioned?
Oh,
it
10,000, I'm
in prior
sorry,
years?
10,000.
Commissioners,
We have not seen documentation to that effect in years past.
Well, I
So
don't
you-
believe it was requested to be attached in the years before, but it actually affords us several, one of the major ones is into their cooperative purchasing networks. That's one of our biggest advantages, is that we're able to tie in to these co-ops for major purchases.
I don't think there's a question, Marty. The question is, can the county pay NACO, even though NACO is involved in lobbying Congress?
I understand, just that the question had been asked, that what it was
Well, we've been
for.
doing this for years, correct, Counselor?
At least five.
What
At least
what
five that I
evidence
know
do
of.
you have of this lobbying effort?
The supporting documentation that is attached to the agenda item indicates that
What does it
NACO,
indicate? What does it say?
it says that NACO is involved in lobbying Congress on behalf of counties.
And what, is there a particular department that does that, or a PAC, a political action committee, or?
I'm not really sure. I'm just reading off the supporting documentation, and my question was, is it proper to pay an organization that lobbies?
It would be, well,
But we don't pay them for that purpose, though, correct?
no, sir. We tap in for it for the purposes of co-ops. However, it would, I believe it would be very similar to TAC, Texas Association of Counties, only this is on a national level. However, I do know that there is a provision, there is a statute which does permit state associations from,
So my question was from legal, and I don't know if legal is ready to
Judge,
determine whether or not that is proper.
want to go ahead and move
I
to
will-
approve?
I think we just
the
need
payment.
clarification from NACO.
that's fine. I just wouldn't answer the questions that have been.
So you're
addressed.
okay with it, Steve?
I'm saying if we can just get clarification from NACO to define what their lobbying activities are, it may not even be involved in what we're talking about.
All right. Then we ought to go ahead and approve it, subject to Mr. Crane's legal
I
opinion.
move to approve.
Need a second? Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Now, the next, Marty, were you involved in that next one?
I think the next one is a 9A,
9A?
and that's from IT department.
No, it's a name change on a cell phone. We'll bring it back to the regular agenda.
Take no action?
You can see the phone. Yes,
Why?
sir, no action.
What's, read the caption.
The caption reads, authorization to change employee name and change MDN through the county's membership, participation with contract, DIR number 604, with awarded vendor Verizon Wireless, and it lists an individual deleting the name and transferring to an employee name. Normally, these items are on the regular agenda.
When we do new service, we put them on the regular agenda. It is my belief, unless I'm mistaken or something's changed, that name changes we put through consent. The agreement's already been entered to by the county on this particular number. And what we do is the employee leaves and we bring it to consent and say, this phone is now being assigned to this individual, and we change the phone number for historical purposes. It's the only reason we do that.
So you're going to do whatever needs to be done?
Yeah, I'll
Bring
bring it on the regular
I'll
agenda.
move to approve it,
Judge.
Judge,
It just
subject to
makes-
the name change.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
I need a second.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. Have a good morning.
Mr. Guerra, under item 5.
Thank you, Judge. Commissioners, item 5A, 1 and 2, there's no action unless there's action to be taken further down the agenda. Item 5B, there is, I'm asking approval to process payment of claims, and this would be for Carmen B. Ramirez, who's an attorney at law. The amount is $1,520. This is in connection with legal representation on an indigent defendant. The invoice period is August 2006 to April 2008. This would be done with the authority for the county treasurer to issue payment after review and auditing procedures are completed by the county auditor. The attorney just failed to timely process the invoice, and so it's now being submitted as a claim.
All right. If there's no questions, we entertain a motion to approve. Need a second?
Got it.
Have a second?
Yes.
Please. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 5C, Judge Commissioners, is approval to accept a settlement agreement with Allstate Insurance Company in the amount of $15,038.31, and this is to settle a total loss auto accident with one of our county vehicles.
As to both 1 and 2?
Yes.
Yes,
Those in
1 and
favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 5D is discussion approval of an internship policy agreement and waiver of liability. Judge Commissioners, we have had numerous requests for internship slots with the County of Hidalgo. While in the past we have accommodated the only formal type of internships that we have, I believe, are with the Health and Human Services Department, but we have had numerous requests to expand to the precincts, to expand to administration, finance, and so there is an internship policy. It has been reviewed by legal counsel, Josie Ramirez. Everything is in place, and we're asking a court to take action on this
I think
policy.
it's a great idea, but we'll move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 5E, I'm asking permission for Marta Salazar, Darlene Benincourt, and Leticia Saenz to attend a purchasing seminar at the island. This is June 20th through the 22nd. They will also be
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 5F, as well as travel for the AgriLife Extension Service for Mr. Brad Cowan in June 10th through the 15th in Lubbock, as well as Cristina Perez to travel to Kingsville, June 19th through the 22nd. That would be
Move to
1 and
approve
2.
items 1 and 2.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 5G, I'm asking approval to advertise 3 positions under Health and Human Services, slots 0001, 0024, and Grant 076.
Move to approve.
Are these new or existing?
Existing, Commissioners. These are existing.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 5H, we're asking approval to submit a letter of an application to TCEQ registration for permits in order to operate a universal waste lamp crusher at San Carlos Warehouse Facility.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 5A is for the Planning Department under our IT department. It is our Verizon Wireless instruments. We're downgrading a plan for Eli Villegas and upgrading a plan for Arturo Hernandez. The downgrade is America's Choice 2 600 Share Unlimited, and the upgrade is Nationwide Unlimited Talk and Text.
So,
Second.
Mr. Guerrero.
That, I believe, was a typo. It should have been the 7 months, not 8
Okay.
months.
Thank you.
Okay?
It's only effective from...
Yes,
no.
it's only effective to the end of the year, yes, sir. It would not exceed.
Those, is there a motion?
Yes.
And a second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item J, as discussed last week or the last couple of weeks, discussion appropriate action regarding the open forum agenda item and related policies and procedures as applicable.
Judge, my man, we get this item pending on several meetings.
Well, we wanted to take it up last week, but we decided to wait till today,
So
at your request.
I don't have any problem with that, so moved.
Should we have the entire commission present?
Well, we had, last time you were not present, neither was Commissioner, I want to say Flores.
Flores.
And we have visited with both of them, well, with yourself also at that time. Commissioner Palacios Joseph was here, and he indicated he was, well, he indicated his position that we all heard, and said he had no problem with leaving it the way it is, subject to, you know, he indicated he wanted everybody here, but now he's busy.
Okay. No problem. So then basically, enlighten me on this item, Balde.
The issue at hand, Commissioner, is the placement of the open forum. Just as a bit of history, the open forum.
I understand what it's for, but as far as placement, what, to leave it the way it is, or what is it?
To leave it the way it
To
is,
move it
or
up to-
place it back
to
at
move
the...
it- The motion was to move it up the way it used to be.
And what is the feeling of the commissioners? They didn't have a problem leaving it the way it was, Judge?
No, well, the way it is now is the way that the majority of the commissioners present indicated that they would like to see it,
Okay.
which is where we presently have it somewhere towards the end.
Okay, I'll go with the majority on that, then,
There's a motion before the court
to move it.
to move it up to where it was.
Okay.
Begin.
All right. If there's no second, the motion will die for lack of a second.
Can I bring it back next week?
Sure. With the entire commission.
Dalton,
Yes, sir.
bring it back.
All right,
I'd like to
next
see the entire
item.
commission.
Sir?
It'd be good if the entire commission would vote
Well,
on it.
I have a problem, so would I, but they need to be present.
Exactly.
And I don't know if it's going to be,
Balde, you're up. Is that, that concludes your area?
Yes, sir, that does, yes. The
All
next
right,
one
under
would
the
be
county
census.
judge's office, item 6A. Mr. Rios, we got a request. I know that you've gone to great lengths to prepare this PowerPoint presentation to make us aware of where we are on our issue involving the undercount and what you're intending to do in making our case in our behalf to the Department of Commerce, and which controls the U.S. Bureau of Census. But we're missing two commissioners. And I'm afraid, not necessarily afraid, but I'm concerned that perhaps what you're needing to tell us needs to be heard by the entire body, if possible.
Absolutely, Judge. I can be here next meeting or whatever you want to do. We do have some pictures of some of the fairly dramatic results that we're finding that we could discuss briefly, but...
Why don't you briefly just go into what it is that you're intending to tell the entire body, the entire court, because from looking at them, they do look very dramatic, and they point out the problem that we're encountering in dealing with the Department of Census.
Okay. What I could do, Judge, is just give you an abbreviated version of the slideshow that we had for you. Go directly to...
Yeah, I got it over there.
Oh, let's go directly to...
There's no sound.
What I could do, Judge, is just highlight a few slides and save the full presentation, so when we have the whole Commissioners Court...
I think that would be appropriate, sir.
Let's go to this slide right here. Very briefly and in a fairly rapid fashion, the importance of the leadership that y'all are providing here is a loss of federal funds, and we have documentation that when you miss people, you lose out in substantial federal funds. The slide in front of you shows the programs. There's 8 programs that we looked at that are keyed to the census data, and Medicaid, foster care, all of these programs are federal programs that funding formulas are based on population figures. So the impact in the local community is really important. Those programs are very basic to the community: Medicare, foster care, rehabilitation, child care, and so on and so forth. And real quickly, I want to jump over to the following slides that are you know, we talked earlier about the smoking guns, when we do the check on what the census did. This slide in front of you just gives you a very glimpse, a minor glimpse. This red area, lined area there, is a whole census block. And the Census Bureau has reported officially that there's 14 people here. We count the houses, the red dots are rooftops. And by the way, your GIS program, your GIS department is doing an excellent job. We count 152 homes that are residences that were there in April of 2010 that should have been counted. If we assume there's 3.5 persons per household, just in this one block, they missed 532 people, just in this one block. And your GIS has identified 5,000 similarly situated blocks that we're going to focus to make sure. Let's go to the next one. And then the other one, another one that we have, just to dramatize, is this one right here. In this particular block, again, the red line is the census block. The Census Bureau reports 2 people there. And there's 42 rooftops. And quite frankly, just when I was sitting here waiting, if you look at the block right above it, they say there's 52 people above there. I counted close to 200 homes there. So these are just examples of what I call smoking guns that we're finding that we're going to focus in on and move forward. But those are just the kind of examples I wanted to present to you. And I'll go through the full program. By the way, we have a summary table there at the end, Judge, of the first 10 that we're going to submit to the Census Bureau on the undercount. And I can save the rest of my comments for when we have the full committee, if you want, Judge. Because we've got to talk about the count resolution program that the Census Bureau has and how we're going to get engaged with the congressman and so on.
If the court feels the same way, the commissioners,
that would be good.
We ought to wait until we have the entire court here to consider it and listen to it.
Whatever your pleasure is.
All right, sir. Do we have a date for any kind of a meeting or mediation with the Department of Census?
Well, the count resolution, the count question resolution program is open until June of next year, and I'm pushing your GIS department, which is doing a great job, on starting to submit, like these first 30, we're going to submit in the next week or two. Is that right? So we're moving along as fast as we can. It's picking up steam, Judge.
So we have about a year to do
we have
to put it together?
Till June of next year to get all these in there and try to get an adjustment.
And so far, out of the 5,000, how many have we worked on?
Well, we're working on 275, and we got 30 that are going in already. And in just those that we're submitting, we've identified probably around $14 million that you're losing out on.
And how long have you been working in order to work on 275?
Well, we got going right after the redistricting case ended, so I'm thinking about 4 months. Yes, 4 months. But the hard part has been done. Now we've got the system down, and I think we're going to be able to move it faster. Is that right?
Absolutely.
All right, so you don't see any problem in achieving whatever it is you want to achieve on all 5,000 between now and the next year?
I think so. With the proper staffing, I think there's some issues in staffing, but I think we'll be all right.
You've just laid out a heck of a predicate with the proper staffing. I mean, do you not have the proper staffing?
Well, I think we're getting there. Is that right, Rick?
Yes, Judge. We did identify that we may need some additional staff to finish the project within.
Why don't we hear from the IT department? They're the ones working on it.
I think with a couple more staff, we can definitely finish the project within a year, with 2, 3, just for data entry, really.
Okay, sir. So you would need I guess, a minimum of 2 people to help you complete the job, and I guess
2 people would work.
We could hire them on a temporary basis for a year or something like that.
Mm-hmm. That should be enough to
count
all 5,000.
And our goal, Mr. Rios, to be able to hopefully convince the Department of Census and the Department of Commerce that they made a mistake, that they're wrong in their figures. What is our goal? I mean,
Well,
Can you-
in a very conservative fashion, at least 30,000, which is about $90 million worth of federal funds. And I do think those are conservative numbers. I think at the end of the day, we may be able to come up with enough to hopefully point out that if they don't adjust what we want them to adjust, we may end up losing hundreds of millions of dollars.
All
I know
right, sir.
Congressman Hinojosa has been saying that we're losing hundreds of millions of dollars because of this undercount.
What are we looking at the other counties around us?
Sir?
What other counties are part of this?
I know that the GIS department for Cameron County is undertaking some of this as well, and Starr County has contacted the judge here, and they want to participate. And I don't know about Willacy, and I know that Webb County is looking at it.
All right.
When you say they're wanting to participate, talking about sharing the expenses of it.
That's right. We met with them early on with different representatives, and, I'm not sure what their reasoning was, but their decision was not to get involved.
Who is this?
Get involved in helping pay for your expenses.
Oh, okay.
But we
I
decided.
think it's an ongoing thing. I think they're looking at it, but I don't know what they're going to do.
All right, sir.
Has
But
this shortfall been identified and the reason to it?
Sir?
Has this shortfall been identified and the reason to it? I know that we're on the outside looking in, and we're trying to get the true facts and try to make sure that we do count properly, and
It has
what's the
been
reason for this?
It has been identified. The Census Bureau is well aware of it. I think, to be honest with you, some of it is a lack of leadership and pushing the federal government to take it to make this a priority. They know that they have a hard time counting people down here, but like any political institution, they're going to react to political pressure, and we've got to put the pressure on it.
Sure.
It hasn't been, you know, you have to jump up and down and scream, look, you can't continue doing this to us. With the study that was done, it directly related to the loss of federal funds, and then we've got to get our congressmen involved and start screaming at them. Right now, they're starting to set the budget for the 2020 census, and so we have to start screaming about it.
Sure.
All right, sir. Well, we'll let you know when we expect the entire court to be here.
Absolutely, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for what you've done today. And I would suggest next time maybe you can bring in some kind of an item that will allow you to at least to have the court consider hiring those 2 additional staff on a temporary basis.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Next item, item 6B.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Jaime Longoria from the County Judge's Office. I'll read the caption, approval to transfer the public affairs staff from Executive Office to the County Judge's Office as follows. Operations Administrator, slot number 1 to slot number 37 for a salary of $68,137. Position title, second position title is Multimedia Coordinator from slot number 2 in the Executive Office to the County Judge's Office, slot number 0038, salary of $60,949. Next position to be transferred over would be Clerk 1 from Executive Office, slot number 0004 to the County Judge's Office, slot number 0039 for a salary of $18,564. The fourth slot would be the Public Affairs Specialist from Executive Office, slot number 0011 to the County Judge's Office, slot number 0040 for a salary of $37,109.
And these are all existing positions.
They're
correct?
existing positions, existing salaries, Judge.
Judge,
Yes.
the reason this item was, no action was taken was at the request of Commissioner Palacios, Joseph, and the reasoning behind that was he wanted the full court to be here to act on this.
Well, he indicated he was in favor of it.
Well, if I recall, his comments were that we did not have the full court, and he was asking to place it on the agenda again to allow the people that were absent at the time to be present for
Well,
this.
we have one gentleman here that's now back,
Well,
that's
I don't-
Commissioner. Well, he's not here. Look, we have a motion, I entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve. I think this is the way it should
All
be.
right, I'll second it. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Opposed,
All right, sir.
abstain, I abstain.
All right, note that for the record. Item number 2, appointment of the Hidalgo County Public Information Officer.
Yes, sir. What we're asking is that Karina Cardoso be appointed as the official Hidalgo County Public Information Officer.
And I would entertain a motion to that effect, along with approval of item 3 and 4.
I'll second that.
All right, I second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, now, item C.
3 and 4?
We
They were
include,
approved.
Morning, Judge, Commissioner.
yeah, we include.
Everything.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. Bobby Villarreal with the County Judge, and I have Juan Guerra, Finance Director of FAR, with us today. We're looking to item 1, approval of the interlocal by and among the City of FAR, Hidalgo County, and the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Number 1, City of FAR, allowing for the Hidalgo County to participate in the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone. I know that the auditor had an issue with the TERS and the TRIZ, but we spoke briefly in that they do not coincide or intersect with each other. And legal has taken care of that issue, and among other things, that some little items that they had over the weekend.
So moved.
Where's the revised document? I haven't seen it. Saying legal has taken care of those corrections?
Yes, they sent it to, I believe, RC as of yesterday.
I'm sorry?
They sent it to RC yesterday. I know y'all had another auditor that had been reviewing these things in the past few months, which I think she's out on maternity leave. I think so RC took a cursory review, but the items were addressed by legal.
Okay, because we haven't seen the document, but all the changes had been made, you think?
Yes.
Okay.
It was sent to your office yesterday afternoon.
I'm sorry?
My understanding it was sent to Michael's office, who then forwarded it to the auditor's office.
Yes.
Everything is in place and meets all of the requirements of our new policy,
Yes.
correct?
And we have Mr. Guerra here if y'all wanted to view the map. Is it on? Oh, it didn't go through? Oh, I'm sorry.
Judge, as we discussed, the agreement that was attached to the agenda
Mr.
item
Peña,
had
do me a favor and ask Balder to come in the meeting, please.
had a
Mr.
clause that talked about sharing the M&O rate with the transportation zone, but Bobby indicated that that clause has been taken out.
Yes. And I think it was a kind of I guess a consultant had taken it from a prior agreement because there had been a city that intersected with the TRIZ, but in this case that did not occur, so it wasn't necessary on the legal document.
All right, think about it.
There's a motion, Judge.
All right,
So all the criteria that was supposed to be met is met. There's no issues, correct?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha.
was there a
that.
second?
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And then item number 2, the appointment of one board member to represent County of Hidalgo on the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Number 1, City of FAR Board of Directors.
All right. You know, I would like to recommend that we appoint Bobby Villarreal, who's our Economic Development
Move to
Officer
approve.
representing the county.
I'll move to approve, Bob.
All right, those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
All right, thank you, Judge.
And this item, it's very significant, well, for the county and especially for the city of FAR. It's going to allow some future growth and development to be able to attract some new businesses to our area, hopefully.
That's correct. There's already some plans in place to improve the arboretum in the area, get some infrastructure in place, assist in the drainage issues. So, yes.
Well, good luck to you and the mayor and the city commission and Fred on this project, sir.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Commissioners.
All right, thank you, Bobby. Item number 7, our DA's office.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Morning, sir.
Approval to create 3 temporary part-time clerk 1 positions, slots T072 through T074, grade 1, not to exceed 6 months.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Number 2 is approval to appropriate funds.
What are you talking about as far as appropriating funds, sir?
Sir?
What is the amount?
$8,255.
Move to approve. Items 2 and 3.
Does that include 2 and 3?
Yes, sir.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
B1 is approval to transfer supplemental pay in the amount of $4,122 from slot number 30.
Move to
That's
approve.
this-
Second. 1 and 2.
1 and
Those
2.
in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item 8, our Sheriff's Office.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Item A, authorization and approval to apply to the fiscal year 2012 State Criminal Alien Assistance Program, the SCAP grant, with the Bureau of Justice.
Need a second?
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye, motion carries.
B, sir, on Stone Garden, authorization approval to accept an extension for 2009 Operation Stone Garden. New termination date will be July 31st of 12.
Move to approve items 1, 2, and 3.
Check.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 2, sir,
It's already
authorization
been approved,
and
sir.
approval for the county judge.
We already approved it all.
All 3 of them?
Yeah.
Yes.
Item 3 as well.
Item 3.
1, 2, and 3.
Okay, sir.
All right.
Proceeding to item C. Sheriff's Office approval for the following personnel action to delete the chief deputy position at $85,000 and create a division commander at $75,000.
Move to approve.
Check.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 2, authorization, approval of authorized clothing allowance in the amount of $500 for the division commander
So
position.
move for 2, 3, and 4.
3 and 4?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, sir. All right, item 9. Is there anything to report, Mr. Olivares?
No, sir, no items to report unless there's any questions, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 10, Urban County.
Morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Judge Commissioners. Good morning. Our first item on the agenda is a request to have the county declare June 2012 as 2012 Home Ownership Month within the county of Hidalgo. This is an opportunity for us to advise the public and raise public awareness regarding home ownership, so I recommend the approval.
Is there a second?
Yes, sir.
Those in favor
There's a
indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. Item 2 is a request to conduct a public hearing regarding a substantial amendment to the fiscal year 2011 Action Plan for Emergency Solutions Grant Program. That is in the amount of $208,293.
Move to approve items 1 and 2.
Check.
Public hearing.
Public hearing.
Sorry.
Yes.
That's right.
At this time, we're going to be convening a public hearing regarding an amendment to year 2011 Action Plan for the Emergency Solutions Grant Program on additional funding of $208,293. The hearing is now convened. Is there anybody here that desires to make a comment, any comments, either for or against? Not hearing anyone. We are closing the public hearing and proceeding on to the next item.
Move to approve item 2.
If I may, Judge, I'd like to indicate that this is an additional allocation that we received for fiscal year 2011. Our original grant was in the amount of $370,000, and we received that additional $208,000.
Good job.
And the purpose of it?
To continue with the Emergency Shelter Solution Grant, so that we can continue to provide shelter to our nonprofit organizations such as Salvation Army, Mujeres Unidas, and so forth.
Need a motion and a second to approve?
Check.
So, second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item C is a request on behalf of the City of Alamo requesting authority to purchase and issue a purchase order to Upper Valley Materials, LLC, lowest bidder meeting all specifications and requirements in the amount of $46,500 $501, and this will be for their Alamo Street Improvement Project for the purchase and delivery of the hot mix material.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
At this time, we're requesting no action on item D.
All right, move on to E.
Item E is on behalf of Precinct 1 in the City of Mercedes requesting authority to purchase fire station equipment, which calls for bunker gear for the Mercedes Volunteer Fire Department. Purchase will be made from Costco Industries, contract number 363-10, an approved vendor through Hidalgo County's membership participation. The total amount of the purchase is $35,664.59. I understand the auditing office had a concern regarding this issue, however, it has been provided.
Move to approve.
Check. Were we able to get all the price verification?
Excuse me?
Were we able to get all the price verification?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I have a breakdown that shows exactly the subtraction and addition for the auditors to look at.
All right, those in
Thank you.
favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Item F is a request on behalf of the City of Westlaco requesting acceptance and approval to award the best valued proposal received from Alpha Building Corporation, a job order contractor, also an improved contract partner with HCDC.
Need a second?
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
What about that one, Diana?
I have the, from what I understand, the purchasing department through Oscar Garza provided the RS means and all documentation is in order. However, if you would like to recommend no action until the...
Well, we were not able to determine whether it has been done, but you're saying that has been done?
I'm sorry, so you're going to have to speak up.
We were not able to determine, based on the review of the supporting documentation, that that we had verified the contract pricing, but you're saying that has been done?
Well, we provided as an additional backup amount. I think I left it in my desk.
Okay.
Marty, are you familiar with this?
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Did we recommend approval on that one?
All right, need a motion and a second?
So moved.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item G is Precinct 4 requesting consideration and action to award and enter into a construction contract with the 5125 company.
Hold on, Deanna. We're going to, at the request of the Commissioner, we're going to take about a 5-minute break.
Thank you.
All right, for the record, we're now back from our recess, and I want to make sure that we let the public know that Commissioner Palacios, Tito Palacios, was not feeling well and he had to step out of the meeting. We now have with us Commissioner Joe Flores from Precinct 3, so we have a quorum.
Judge, if we may, I'd like to bring item D back, please, for discussion with Urban County.
All right, what item is that?
Item D.
E? All
D,
right.
as D.
D as in David?
Yes, sir. This has to do with the Urban County Program on behalf of Hidalgo County, Precinct Number 1 in the city of Ed Couch.
Okay. Judge, this item here is for the purchase of a fire truck for the city of Ed Couch using some of the precinct funding. However, after discussing this item with the auditor, apparently there is 1 or 2 items that we cannot verify to be the right price on the additions to this brush truck. So therefore, he's recommended that we go back and confirm the dollar amount to be able to be in compliance with the contract.
What is your issue with this?
What you stated, that the...
No, but clarify it.
The pricing has not been completed. There are some items included on the purchase that we cannot verify against the contract that we have with the state, or that the vendor has with the state.
We do have a representative, the city manager of the city of Ed Couch. Can you please come up to the podium, please?
Good morning, County Judge, Board. The city is requesting this item to be taken action on. This is an exact carbon copy of the last and most recent brush truck that the city purchased. And I believe that the Urban County has been sitting on this for more than a month on this item. And we'd like to get it approved today.
What is the actual amount of the purchase of this vehicle? Is it the $76,035?
That's correct.
Okay, and what is your issue with this?
Again, Commissioner, the purchase includes a vehicle and items that are going to be added to the vehicle. We were not able to verify the pricing for all of the items included on the purchase.
But it doesn't exceed the amount of $76,035, is that correct?
That's correct.
Diana, have we ever bought something like this before?
I'm sorry,
Have
sir?
we ever done it this way?
What we would do is we would get the price and we would verify it, but apparently now that they're going to the auditors, they're thinking that maybe I did not verify one item. I know I was lacking one item this morning, and I would have no problem in putting it off for next week if the city so wishes to do so, just to have additional confirmation.
Yeah, and the city is actually contributing how much to this?
I believe it was $26,000?
$26,000.
$26,000.
So the city's contributing $26,000
That's
to
correct.
be able to purchase this truck. I'd like to go ahead and move to approve, subject to verifying that item.
Yeah, second.
All right. Those in favor of the item, of the motion as made and seconded indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you.
One last question before you leave. You know, a few months ago, we had a beaver, Rocky the beaver, and they kept looking and looking and trying to catch him. Was he ever, what's the status of Mr.?
He was tranquilized and moved to Precinct 3. No, they relocated him to Zapata County. He's been moved to Zapata County, Judge. They got a bigger lake over there.
Precinct 3.
They got a bigger lake over there, so he's been moved over there by Texas Parks and Wildlife.
Actually, Judge...
and there were 6 beavers, not only one. There were 6.
6 of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
And actually, Mr. Lins owes me a number 2 from Whataburger.
Yes, whenever you're ready, Commissioner.
Right.
And I want to thank you, Judge and Commissioners.
Thank you for the humane way in which you treated them.
Yes, by all means. Congratulations on that. Thank you, Diana.
All right, next item, item H is in Harry.
G, isn't it?
We were at G.
D?
G.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, this is a request on behalf of Precinct 4 requesting consideration and action to award and enter into a construction contract with the 5125 company for base bid alternates 1 through 7 and 9. Total amount of the contract is $427,144.45, and this is for a CDBGR project, which is known as a Fike Pond structure.
Move to approve. Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item H is a request on behalf of the City of Ed Couch to its Urban County Program 22 and 24 work plans. The amendment will delete the planning activity and create a water and sewer improvement activity and allocate $27,000 for fiscal year 22, which is 2009. It will decrease the sidewalks activity by $57,481 and create a flood drainage improvement activity and allocate $57,481
Move to
for
approve.
fiscal.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item I is requesting consideration and approval to modify the construction contract change order. Request number 2 previously submitted to the General Land Office, contract number 10-5066-000-5043, regarding the Precinct 1 Catarina Subdivision Street and Drainage Improvement Project. The change order will increase the number of calendar days allocated in the construction service contract by 88 days.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
J is requesting authorization to amend the homeless prevention and rapid rehousing contract with Catholic Charities of the Rio Grande Valley and the Hidalgo Urban County Program. The amendment will not change the current budget. However, it will allow us to move funds within the current budget for rapid rehousing. This will help Catholic Charities assist
Move to approve.
additional families.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge, just for the record, on item I, that motion included 1 and 2.
That's correct.
Yes.
No, it was separate, wasn't it? We
Well, you didn't take any action on 2.
Okay, we could go back to I-2. It
Move
is
to
consideration.
Move to approve the item.
Thank you.
Second.
To authorize the county judge.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. That's simply the motion authorizing the executive officer to sign the document.
Yeah.
All right, item K.
Judge, item K, last week I came before you requesting the ranking for 3 architectural firms. However, what I failed to do was to request exemption from competitive bidding requirements for that activity, and I'm asking for it now.
Move to approve.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
You do 2 and 3.
B? Okay. Okay, item B is presentation of the scoring grid for the purposes of ranking of the 3 architectural firms. This is for a project in the city of Hidalgo. The firms evaluated were Megamorphosis for 94 point, I'm sorry, I believe this is incorrect. I'm sorry. I just looked at it again.
What are you going to do here?
I'm sorry?
What do you mean incorrect?
Incorrect. I'm looking at the numbers that were provided here, and this is not what was in my...
So there was a typo error then?
It looks that way, yes.
Let's go ahead and read the
Go ahead and
correct
read
one.
it and correct it, and we'll.
Okay. Okay, maybe not. Let me see. According to this, it's Megamorphosis 94.5, EGV Architects with 88, and Gomez Mendez Science with 84.34.
Let's go ahead and skip that one and go to another one, and then maybe you can look at it, or somebody from your office can look at it.
Thank you.
¿Verdad?
May I
That's
bring
fine.
this back? I would feel more comfortable if I actually looked at it.
Bring it back?
Yes, sir,
Okay.
please.
No
Okay.
action.
Thank you.
Judge, did you say on item I, approval for the executive officer to sign the document?
Yeah, we just took action a while ago
It's for the county judge.
Yeah, but
on
the-
I-2.
It was a
The item reads
judge.
county judge, but you...
It's for you to sign the document.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yourself? Okay.
yes. Valdez still thinks he's the executive officer, but he really isn't.
Oh, you are? Okay.
May I continue, Judge?
Yes, please.
Okay, item L is requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code
Move to approve.
262.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 2 is presentation of the scoring grid for the purposes of ranking. This is a Precinct 3 project. The 3 firms evaluated were Javier Hinojosa Engineering with 94.33, Hinojosa Engineering with 92, and Izaguirre Engineering with 81.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item 3 is requesting your authority to negotiate a contract with the highest rated firm.
Move for
Move to
approval.
approve. Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge. Commissioners.
Wait, do we have to go back to K1 to take no action or no?
K1, it's,
We can leave the exemption.
We can do the exemption and just.
we did the
take-
exemption, may I come back with B and C next week?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Thank you.
All right, 11, our elections office.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, ma'am.
I can- you
Give
can
it to Raul.
You can give your, Joseph to Marcus también, he's somewhere.
Good morning, Yvonne Ramon, Elections Administrator. Discussion and or action including but not limited to election updates. The first handout are the location and the dates for both Republican and Democratic canvassing. This is for your FYI. If you turn the page, these are the very unofficial report that they will use to canvass. Please keep in mind that the Democrats have 33 provisional ballots and 3 overseas ballots that ballot board will be looking at today at 10. And the Republicans have 3 provisionals, and they are meeting today. Ballot board is meeting today at 2. So these are unofficial. We're still working on gaining all the up-to-date documentation so that they will use that to canvass and therefore turn these election results into the official. Okay, so any questions on that first handout?
No.
The second handout will require action. Yesterday, our intent was to email this to you. We were so busy, we never had a chance, so you don't have to act on it today. Although the locations have not changed from the early voting of the primary, these are the same sites for the runoff. The second page is, of course, the schedule for the runoff for your information. Runoff being July 31st, with the first day of early voting being the 23rd, and that'll last 5 days through the 27th, and all other document and dates are on there as well. The last page is very unofficial. These are just my recommendations on the runoffs. I've not received formal notice from the Secretary of State's office, but as you can see, there are 7 Democratic runoffs and 6 Republican runoffs that will be on the ballot. Again, very unofficial. I've not received official word. So looking at these early voting locations, we do have, you may look at them, I may bring it back next week. They have not changed. It's your decision.
They're the same ones that were in place for a regular primary?
That's correct, sir. And the reason we are recommending the same is because we have quite a few county-wide runoffs taking place, and therefore the locations are necessary in all the 4 commissioner
The
areas.
agenda item you placed does not allow us to act on it, so make sure you get a specific agenda item and we can act on it next week.
Okay, so even though it says discussion and or action
Yeah, but what?
On what?
on the acceptance of the early voting
Where do you read
sites.
that?
Okay, okay, that's fine. And I knew that, you know, I knew that I would probably have to bring it back. We've just had to wait for the runoffs to see if all locations were necessary. We couldn't really make a determination until the results came in. So I will bring that back next week, and it's good so that you can have it and look over and let me know if you have any recommendation on changes. And that's all I have. Any
All right,
questions?
thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Item 12, our Head Start.
Good morning. There's a typo in there. It says Palmview 1, but this is on requesting authorization and approval to solicit request proposals from awarded job order contracts through county's membership and participation in various cooperative purchasing programs, association, et cetera, for the relocation of Palmview 1 Head Start Center located at 501 Palmview Commercial Drive to be moved to 1208 Paula Drive, Palmview, Texas. And the list of the people are Facilities USA, or the vendors, LLC, Alpha Building Corporation, and CAS Companies, so as to determine the best value under Texas Local Government Code 271.113. I might add that Mr. Peña did look to the possibility of finding another option rather than moving the building, but he has not been able to do anything or could not get anything for us.
Trying to salvage it.
Pardon?
You're going to move it to the precinct 3 just south of there, right?
Right, next to where the
cafeteria.
kitchen is, yes, yes. And I might also add that there's a couple of portable buildings that were next to the building, which we'll have to see how we're going to accommodate those two. I don't know that the city of Palmview will let us have them or whether we want them. I think they're full of termites. We're having to look for another option with regards to those additional classrooms. But in this agenda item, the backup is Palmview 1 that we're talking about.
Move to approve.
Need a second?
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Right of way.
The Judge Commissioners Joe Peña, Right-of-Way Department. 13A, consideration and approval to purchase a certain tract of land also known as Parcel 24B, South McCall Off-Site Drain Project, Picarillo LTD, Precinct 2.
Move to approve.
Second.
Is there a second?
Yes.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item 14, our auditor's office.
Judge, I'm requesting approval to waive new employee enrollment procedures to fill an accountant 1 position, slot number 0025.
Why?
I need to hire the individual before the next enrollment procedure takes place. And once we hire the person, she'll go through the enrollment process after being on board.
Approval to waive new employees enrollment procedures.
Is that normal?
It is normal for my office to request approval, and it's always
Nothing against your office, I'm just wondering if it's normal you bring on a new employee without proper
Only for the auditor.
orientation.
Only for him? Why is that?
That's the only time I remember in the past that we've waived it is only for the auditor's office.
Esther, can this be done?
It can be done if the board approves it, but he wants to hire someone on the 11th and the enrollment is on the 18th.
But
He wants to hire what?
Get on the post.
Come on over here, please, Esther.
As long as the interviews and everything is.
Yeah, I mean, they got to be told what their rights and their obligations are.
We have to follow a process as far as the enrollment, and we have it every 2 weeks as per the county treasurer. That's what she wants because of the payroll. So the next starting date is the 18th, and he wants to hire next week.
Oh, that doesn't mean the employee's not going to get that training or whatever it is.
Right, just going through the enrollment process.
He wants, if I understood you correctly, you want the employee to start and do the orientation afterwards.
Correct.
That is what
So
he's
you're bringing on a new
But
employee
most
without,
departments go with the process.
without orientation
Right.
of the do's and don'ts in our county.
Is this going to be an in-house, or I mean, are we going to go out for new
No,
applicants?
it's a new employee from the
He's already hired
outside.
someone, but he
It's
wants
a new
him to
employee
start
from
next
the
week.
outside?
Yes, sir.
So that employee is not familiar with the do's and don'ts
No.
and orientation of this county, correct?
Yes, but it's a brand new employee.
He's working already?
No.
No?
No?
So what he's requesting is a waiver to have him start before the enrollment process.
Actually, just a
begins.
delay of the enrollment procedure.
Well, we just had it this past Monday, and
Are
now
we
we have
doing
to wait
anything
2
illegal?
weeks. I'm sorry?
The only thing I'm worried about, is it legal?
Yes, it's legal, if you authorize it.
If we authorize it?
My
But all
concern,
departments follow
my
the
concern,
process.
my concern, and like I said, nothing against your department. My concern is basically you have a new employee that's never worked for the county before, start employment without any orientation.
Right.
Something happens, did not receive this orientation, what do you do about it?
Yeah.
Well, if you say it's
You-
approved, then.
No, well, but what's the liability to the county? Because they go through safety, they go through all these different
All of it.
orientations.
Commissioner, also, not all departments go through the same process. And so you have the risk for other departments. that
No,
hire.
sir. Every department follows the process.
Every department?
Yes, if there's a waiver to be asked, they call Norma Garcia and request that.
Is that correct, Valde? All departments go through orientation before the employees come on board?
Orientation, yes, they go through the orientation. Any exemptions, I know that there have been phone calls asking on a waiver with respect to a starting date for the orientation. The last that I can recall were part-time positions that were delayed by a week, but those part-timers were already employed with the county, so they had already gone once, and it was within 6 months. But they did go through the orientation, so they were already familiar with the county rules and regulations.
Well, but the employee is going to be in an office.
Yeah, I don't think there's a large risk, but it's up to the court. If the court wants to not approve it.
Is he going to put you in a bind, or can you wait?
Is he going to put you in a bind?
Can you wait on this?
That's the whole purpose of getting the waiver. You know, I need somebody to approve requisitions and that sort of thing. But if you want to wait 1 week, man, it's time sensitive, but we can make it not time sensitive.
We got to remember, we're going to do it this way, we're going to have to do it like that for everybody.
But there's the thing, you know, if you're going to decline mine,
Yeah.
you're going to have to decline everybody's.
Yeah.
It's not me,
I'm
Mr.
sorry?
Auditor. It's not me, Ray. It's the court.
No, that's what I mean, but if the court's going to do this, I mean, we need to decline everybody.
Right.
No, what I'm saying is that you're requiring for me to have all my employees go through orientation before they come on board. What I'm saying is that the treasurer and yourself should request all departments to go through the same process, not
Well, we
wait for.
recommend that all go through the same process.
Right.
I think that's a pretty bold statement on your part. telling us
Well,
we
what
should
is your
do.
recommendation? You're our Human Resources Director.
Well, if he can
Exactly.
wait, I
I'm
would
not
prefer
picking
that
on
he
you.
wait, so we
The
won't
thing
make
is
exceptions to the
that you're a
rule,
real
but
stickler for us to follow procedure. Now you're coming to us telling not to follow procedure.
Well,
You know,
not all
that's-
departments come before you to request a waiver, and I am, because I want to make sure that I follow procedure. And what I'm saying is that everybody's going to have to follow the procedure if that's what the HR
And there you go again, saying that everybody has to. That's all right.
Yeah.
Anything else, ma'am?
no, sir.
So it doesn't matter, Commissioner, if you want.
It did-
We can wait another week if you want to. That's fine.
So what's the consensus of the court? Any motions either way?
Oh, and Esther was up here. I mean, what's her recommendation? Wait, do it, what?
You're our director, Esther.
All right, we'll just wait then.
All right. Bring it back.
Yes.
Item 15, Precinct 1.
Person has to wait.
Item what?
Request
15,
approval of Reading
precinct.
Madams Tract 1077, Block 118th Street to Morales SR for 911 purposes only. Like to move to approve. That's 15A.
You need a second?
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 16, Precinct 2.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. Precinct 2, Raul Silguero representing Commissioner Palacios. This is approval of, requesting approval of supplemental agreement number 2 for R. Gutierrez Engineering, contract number C09-419-10-27, resulting in an estimated increase of $29,484 for services under work authorization number 1 for El Gato Road Project.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item, 17, Purchasing.
Subject to something.
I'm sorry, I should have been waiting in the wings. Nothing to report or action to be taken on items A1, 2, ABC, 3, ABC. Going on to item 4, acceptance and approval to utilize the Texas Procurement and Support Services Council of Competitive Governments Co-op for the new retail fuel card and related services. And that's going to be under contract number 946, and this is through its award of April the 30th, 2014, with authorization to utilize the fuel cards pursuant to Commissioners Court approval upon transition from Comdata to awarded vendor described herein, which will be, which is on the backup. This is the new award from the state. We're asking for authority to utilize that. Of course, there'll be a transition, and we will be bringing those to you little by little.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 5A is as requested by WIC Program Director, Ms. Norma Longoria, recommendation to reject all bids received for the additions and renovations to the WIC clinic and offices located at 3105 East Richardson, Edinburgh, Texas. All proposals were over budget.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And pursuant to the AIAB 101, 2007 form of agreement between Hidalgo County, Dannenbaum Engineering, Section 664 and 6.7, proceed to revise project program scopes or quality as required to reduce cost for the work without additional compensation, approval for architect to modify the construction documents.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And C is requesting authority to re-advertise and approval of the revised plans and specs. Those have been put on a DVD. They were delivered this morning to the auditor, the court reporter, and Ms. Monica. And that is as they were developed by project architect Dannenbaum Engineering for the same project.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 6 is acceptance and approval of an amendment to the AIAB 141-1997 standard form of agreement with Alcocer Garcia and Associates for the remodel of existing old administration building, first and second floors, to reflect the change of the original scope of services and approve additions and revise the cost estimate.
What are the changes?
Yes.
What are the changes? There was additional items added to the scope of work of the architect. Those were in the form of the conversion of the Commissioners Court to a functioning courtroom, the drainage improvements that are underneath, also the roofing, and that type of work.
So how much more money are we looking at?
The budget for the building went from 2.4 to 4.3.
How much?
4.3.
Twice as much, almost?
Yes, sir. But this has been a 3-year period of evolving the changes requested.
But what about all the sewer projects we've got over there in that building?
Those are going to be included.
There are?
Yes, that's included.
There's been times we
They're
sit
going
in
to
that
repair
room.
and replace the old sanitary sewer lines in the concourse area. They're going to remove and replace the ceramic tile flooring in the concourse area. They're going to replace existing HVAC controls with new system. They're going to put occupational control sensors in all offices in lieu of toggle switches. They're going to redesign the Commissioner's Court floor area to a new judicial courtroom with administrative and support offices. They're going to have restroom additions to the county judge's office area, a new second floor area at county judge's office area, emergency generator, and inclusion of office space for Hidalgo County District Attorney, including the south tower, first and second floors.
And they're actually going to get to work?
We're ready to advertise.
What?
My
question is,
you're on top of this, right?
I'm sorry, Judge?
You're aware of all these changes?
Yes. And to answer Commissioner's question, yes, the sewer was one of the first things that we want to address because remember that at one point was an alleyway before that structure was
Right,
built.
and there was a lift station there.
Yes.
Also, the City of Edinburgh has been cooperating, but they'll only do their part. They are required to allow us to do our work so many feet from the building. So anything right underneath is our dime.
That I understand, yeah.
That's understandable, but, you know, all the other items, why does it seem that we start a project, we put something together, and then we come back and we change, do additions, and you're talking over a $2 million addition?
Yes, sir.
You know, why was not the focus at the beginning to identify the needs and what we want to do with this building?
Commissioner, as it started was, the building was supposed to be occupied as is. but it did not accommodate because of the amount of offices that had to be accommodated for the DA. You recall there is a big hole from the first to the second floor level. That's all going to be now closed in, support, engineering. All of that was decided as the project evolved. There was a lot of work taken into with the DA's office. The judge basically stays the same, only he's going to be only allowed half the building, then the other half had to be remodeled.
I understand what you're saying, ma'am, but
As things were looked into is when we discovered things like your sewer system, the
Ma'am,
HVAC.
getting back to what I was saying, I understand the sewage situation, but I'm talking about the actual use of the facility at the beginning. Maybe should have been identified differently and what we wanted to do with that building instead of coming back and all of a sudden a project of 2.4 million turned into 4.4 million. That's all I'm saying. In other words,
Totally understand.
the waste of time, the work that's already been done, and then you redirect the work, the scope of work. That
Remember that
doesn't make any
roof
sense.
we replaced a couple of years ago was leaking? I mean, did we ever do anything about it?
Well, by the time we looked into the roof is going to be done through, there's been two
It was
complete,
installed wrong or something like that? Or what?
well, it wasn't the best system that we could have done, but it is going to be addressed.
Did we ever submit a claim?
We tried to, but it was, by the time we looked into it, it was already 6 years old. We're now talking 9 years old. And it's going to be, it's actually not going to be replaced. It's going to be refurbished.
What I remember was that the people that installed it were not certified to do it, something like that, at one time.
I think it was the system of roof that you're talking about. But I'll brief both, I can brief all of you on what the status of our roof is.
So with that in mind, are you trying to bring the contractor back? Is the contractor involved?
On that system, no. It's going to be actually a reconditioning of the roof. It really is in pretty good shape. It's those areas that needed the installation to be done correctly.
Is our buildings and ground director involved in all this?
Yes, sir, he is. In fact, he's the one that's checking the final plans and specs to make sure there's anything that he had input that was not omitted from the plans.
Marty, the initial contract says that the estimated cost of construction was going to be modified once the construction contract was let out.
And I addressed that with Ms. Heather. She briefed Mr. Crane. She emailed you back and wanted to know what section you were referring to.
It's on the AA document that the court approved when back in 2008 or 9?
It was in 2009, I believe. But
And that can still be done.
Okay. And that's what I'm saying, that the original contract says that the estimated cost will be amended or changed once the construction contract was let out. We have not let out the construction contract yet.
no, it's just about to be done. But the estimated cost can be changed.
Well, it's required to be changed once we get good firm bids in to determine what the actual cost will be.
And that's what I'm saying, you're doing it before that. So is that proper, Counsel, you saying?
What I'm saying is it'd be best if we do the estimated construction cost revision after we get the bids in.
Oh, you're right.
Marty, does this
Okay,
also?
Marty. Go ahead,
But what we're asking for today is to change the estimated cost.
We changed the estimated cost right now based upon the architect's estimate of the additional services he is going to perform for us.
Which were not included in the 2.4.
Marty, can you come back, and even if we approve it, just so that you can explain what's happening to the building, what you're doing?
Certainly.
Why did it go from 2 to 4, that kind of thing?
Yes, sir, and we
All
have-
the different changes, but do it graphically so we can see it.
I can have the architect here to explain it
And
for
where are
you.
the additional monies coming from?
The additional monies have been identified, and I don't know if
They've been
Vanda is
identified,
aware
but
of
we
where
haven't
those monies
approved
are
them,
coming
have
from.
I'm sorry, Commissioner?
They've been identified, but we haven't approved them, correct?
No. You are correct. I mean, that comes before Commissioner's Court. But I was going to ask Marty, in this entire configuration, the total project cost has the construction of the courtroom. Is that
Included, yes.
included in this figure?
Yes, sir.
Marty, how big is our building?
That 52,000 square, about 50,000 square feet.
So we could try to compute what the cost is going to be.
About $70 a square foot, from what I see.
Well, but remember, Judge, you've also had remediation of asbestos in there. You've had to have remediation of several items that are included in that cost that have already taken place before we could even start going into bids.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of unknowns that have been found,
bring the contract, the architect to come and make a
Who's making
presentation
these
on it.
decisions? Who's involved in putting all the components together? And
Commissioner?
Okay, it's been the county judge's office, the DA's office, architect, obviously, Mr. Guerra's representative, the facilities management, and my staff.
Right, and my representative is Mr. Sunday to make sure that all the infrastructure, that's how this issue of the sewer came into play at one of the meetings, to make sure that that was addressed. I know that Mr. Sunday has been avid with respect to the roof.
Also, the elevators have been replaced.
Right.
So all of those components have become something that when the project was brought to the court, there was, as you said, Commissioner, what we found is for the use of the office, remember it used to be just probation department, took a lot of toll on our infrastructure. So now you're going to have the DA's office who has just as much, visitors to that. We had to replace elevators. All of that has been going into the cost of this building.
And one final factor with respect to the renovation was, it was intended to keep Commissioners Court there.
In the building.
In the building, and just reorient instead
from north to south as opposed from east to west.
East to west.
That's no longer the...
No, because your ceilings are of a type that you cannot have this type of presentation.
Right.
So that had to be then utilized in its best way, and since we have County Court Law number 8 coming online, we have, quite a few courts that are necessary. We are converting it into a functional either district or County Court of Law.
Just bring the architect with you next
I am going to bring him in.
along with the plans that we can see.
Actually, Judge, Commissioners, I had mentioned, and I mentioned a little before we started court today, Judge, that in a couple of weeks I wanted to come to court with a workshop because there was a couple of other projects, and I also wanted the Budget Office to give the court a briefing with respect to the valuations that report that we've gotten from the appraisal district. If the court will permit, can we include this item in that workshop, and that way we get a full picture of all our pending projects, all our financing sources, disclosure of those financing sources to come back to court to authorize or not authorize. That way everybody is aware, and also to allow the general constituency to know exactly where the progress of this building is, because this has been in the works for at least the last
3 years.
3-4 years.
How long can we stay here? That's another question.
Oh, we have an interlocal that it does,
Yeah, but I know,
can be
but
renewed.
we're supposed to stay here, what, 3-4 months?
Originally I think it was...
Stay here as long as we need.
Right, but I think right now we have it for a...
We have it on a yearly basis.
Yearly
if we
basis,
want it.
okay.
Okay, well, let's
But certainly we
proceed.
wouldn't get back to our building.
So-
Thing is that we don't have a commissioner's.
The only
quarters.
problem with workshops is they're not as well attended, and they're not shown, they're not televised to the public.
Well, Judge, if you'll allow, let me talk to the city, and then I'll also talk to KMBH about what we can do about filming and advertising.
All right. Okay, well, that'd be good. Thank you.
I need action.
Go ahead and approve it, right?
I thought you were going to bring it back.
Yeah, could we?
No, we can approve it, but then they'll bring back the engine.
Right, Marty, so...
Well, this is I'm recommending we approve because he has been added additional duties in the evolution of the project. So this is just necessary for his contract.
And we also need replacement of part of this amendment is a replacement of the A201, which
Correct.
is one of the documents.
All right.
But you want us to approve something that we have no visual concept of, or what it's entailing. I understand your explanation, but this is for the purpose of the workshop. No, Valde?
Yes. Could it wait 2 weeks?
A201 can't wait.
Which one, Mr. Crane?
The A201.
A201 cannot wait.
Actually, and Commissioner, also, I want to remind the court already accepted the plans and specs for this building.
Oh, and Marty,
without a $2 million change, man.
No, the court was aware of the specs that were presented showed what the
$2 million
entirety of
change that you're asking for now?
This is part of the architect's part.
I understand that.
Right, but the court already approved the final plans and specs for this building. It's been advertised.
Marty.
I'm not aware of what you're saying. Since court already approved the specs,
The final plans and specs were already
and
approved.
the funding is not in place yet?
The funding is not in place because you don't have a contract yet, Mr. Frazier. You don't have a construction contract.
Yeah.
We have funding
Where's Sergio?
identified that was sent to your office in an email.
Dina.
Yeah. But it
Gina.
makes sense that you had the funding in place.
Dina, do we have
You
that money
advertise.
available for this?
From OCOs.
In the COs.
Marty, if we have a 55,000 square foot building, we're talking,
Renovating only two. We're only renovating 2 floors.
All right,
We
well,
are
that's the
renovating
point
the
I'm trying to
third.
make. Hold on. How many square feet are in those 2 floors?
Those 2 floors are not, you can't divide by 5 because the 3 towers are together. I would guess 20 to 25,000 square feet.
And
So
we're
it'd be
spending 4 million.
$160 a square foot to remodel.
Yes, sir, but you're including a lot of
I think that's the
infrastructure.
important thing that we need to demonstrate to the public, and we can do it with the help of the architect and his charts and pictures and all that.
Correct. However, do you want me to suspend the ad? Because you already approved the plans and specs. The advertising is.
Marty, we're not talking about us. We're talking about trying to justify it to the taxpayer.
No, I understand that.
And want to make sure we clearly state that.
Judge, if I can add, part of the problem is bids have been, the advertisement
This has begun.
has begun. And right now, we don't have, we need to replace the A201, which is one of the major documents.
Steve, but how did we get into this situation? You know,
It started
it may not seem very important to other people, but.
It started in 2008.
Yeah, 4 years.
And that was, and as things progressed, my understanding of what's happened is plans have changed. The direction that the architect has been given by various people in the county has been changed. And so you've already completed a large portion of this. That's why it's not a new contract, it's an amendment. And the last thing that's happened is a letter went out March 19th responding to a request of the county to change the scope of services for the remainder of the contract. And there's 9 items. Inclusion of office space for the district attorney, including the south tower, first and second floors. That's just recently occurred. Second thing is an emergency generator. Third, the new second floor area at county judge's office area. Fourth, restroom addition to county judge's office area. Fifth, redesign commissioner's court floor area to new judicial courtroom with administrative and support offices. This was needed because of the new courts being added. 6, replacement repair of old clay sanitary sewer lines. 7, removal and replacement of ceramic tile flooring. 8, replacement of existing HVAC controls with new system. 9, occupational control sensors to all offices in lieu of toggle switches. That's what's the most recent change.
Which then includes engineering. I mean, one thing brings in another discipline that needs to be also involved. So it's been an evolving project from the beginning. As I said, it started off as an as-is for the third. The third took an enormous investment by the county. And then the second floor towers, remember we were going to keep HR, we couldn't keep them there. The DA needed both floors plus the south tower.
That building was purchased when?
1980, 89?
That building was mid-'80s, mid to late 80s.
No.
It was the late 80s.
From the RTC.
No,
It was-
our administration building was purchased in 89 and 90 because we moved in from the courthouse in 91, I believe. 91.
And we paid how much for it, 2.5?
No.
No.
You paid, it was a great deal. You paid, I want to say about, it was between 500 and 800,000.
So then it's worth.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, yes,
we got it at a very good price.
We bought it from the RTC.
Yeah. Yeah, the Resolution Trust. you're
Right, and it was, and the floors, if you will recall, were
shells.
built out. They were shells.
The only thing that was built out was
The bank.
the bank, the first floor
The-
and the second
Which
floor.
was the
were-
old tax office.
Right, which were
Right.
the administrative offices for the bank. And then the third, fourth, and fifth were shells. And then that was
Little
built
by
out.
little, then the probation department went in. We made that investment.
Then
Then
there-
the Court of Appeals, I was on the 5th floor, then
Right.
moved to the 4th.
There was a change, Commissioner, in the Court of Appeals with respect, and so the entire fifth floor became our Court of Appeals. Then Marty, I think, was moved down to the third floor, and then eventually.
I've been everywhere.
So.
But yes, it was The first two floors.
Shit, if it was 500,000.
Yeah.
All right,
And
Marty,
I
we need to
understand that.
proceed.
If I may, Judge, I understand that, but basically my concern, and this had nothing to do with your purchasing.
Oh, I understand.
It basically is that we make sure that when we take on a project, we identify it correctly, what we want the project to, how it will service the county, most important of all, its constituents, and make sure that we spend our money very effectively. And I'm not questioning that you don't, ma'am.
No, I
But
understand,
it's a true
Commissioner.
concern, because all of a sudden, a $2.4 million project turns into 4.4. The county's not a cash cow. You know, this is something where we need to make sure that we do the right thing, and be as specific as possible before we take on a project.
Let me suggest something in the interim before we have the presentation. I will send to you from the architect something that gives you a general summary of its evolution to begin with, and that prepares you for your workshop. But I do recommend that we do need to take this step on the architect's contract in order to continue.
Okay.
All right. If we're going to be proceeding, I would entertain a motion either way.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries, but we still need
No, I'm
a
going to have them.
presentation.
Oh, definitely. That will be for your workshop or an agenda item. But in the interim, I'm going to send everyone, members of the court, an evolution of the project and how we've gotten from 2.4 to what we are now.
All right, thank you, Marty.
Yes.
I think, Judge.
All right, next, sir.
I think the issues at hand have gotten so large as far as our facilities are concerned, and everything's going through purchasing, and I understand my respects to purchasing, but sometimes I feel in that sense, you know, our purchasing department may be overwhelmed by it, where we should maybe have someone assigned strictly for construction, rehab, and present, and come to this Commissioner's Court and present, and purchasing can assist. Yes?
I'm sorry, Commissioner. Actually, yes, I've asked with current and future projects, I've asked Mr. Sunday to be involved and coordinate with Ms. Salazar, coordinate with Oscar Garza at the purchasing department, coordinate with my office so that the court could be informed. But yes, we've begun that process.
Okay, good.
All right.
Judge, excuse me, I'd like to clarify something on one of my items, if I may.
That same one we were talking about?
Yeah, item K, yes.
Item K. I went back and I went through my backup documentation, and what I found is that on Section B, when the firms were evaluated, the numbers for the firms were transposed to the point where Megamorphosis Incorporated actually scored 88 based on my backup documentation. EGV Architects scored 94.4. And Gomez Mendez Science rated 84.34.
So actually, there was only a typo there.
It was just they transposed the numbers of the actual grade for each of these firms.
Can we correct that, Steve?
It'd be better if we brought it back next week, do you have time to bring it back next week?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right.
I just wanted to clarify for the record that I didn't want anyone to assume that something had changed in that time frame.
Right, and just to further clarify, that documentation is a part of today's backup. And so it is evidenced through our backup of that transposition.
All right, we'll allow you to make a mistake.
Well, Steve, so when the backup is correct?
Thank you, sir.
But it'd be better if we brought it back next week so the agenda would be correct and approved.
All righty, no problem.
That's fine.
I thank you very
All right,
much.
thank you,
Ms. Stedman.
Next item is open forum. First presenter is Mr. Frank Travers. All right, thank you, sir. Our next presenter is Virginia Townsend.
Good morning. I think it's morning.
Morning.
I thank you very much for all the discussion about the annex building. I hope as this thing evolves and you all get all the paperwork and everything that you pay very much attention to it. I think what I heard, and I couldn't understand all of it, but I think as it has evolved, we still don't have a place for Commissioner's Court? Is that still missing? I don't know. That's still missing? There is a place?
We do.
Okay. I'll get the documentation because I don't have it. But I intend to spend a whole lot of time paying attention to that project because I don't want to be in here in this building very much, no. it's not as good as our place over there. So I would prefer that we go back there as soon as possible. So thank you for the attention. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner, I don't know if you still want to.
No, it's fine.
All right, at this time, pursuant to 221 and 551071 and 072 of the Texas Government Code, would entertain a motion to proceed to executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. It's 11:47. We'll be in executive session. All right, we're back in open session at 12:30. Mr. Guerra.
Thank you, Judge. Under open session, item 20A, I will refer or defer to Mr. Peña.
I've got a parcel that was appraised at $7,380, and there's a settlement request for $9,000 for a difference of $1,620, and I'm recommending approval.
So moved.
Second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Joe, just for the record, Mr. Peña, for the record, can you identify that parcel somehow?
Identify
For
the
the
parcel,
record, can you,
please.
for the record, can you identify that parcel in some way?
Okay, this parcel is on the Minnesota Drain, parcel 3, Maria Felicitas Macias.
Thank you.
All right, item
B, 20B, there is no action under pending and or potential. Item 20C, C 1418-12-G, Dora Herrera individually and as representative of the estate of Reynaldo Herrera et al. Versus City of FAR et al. Judge Commissioners, I will refer back to item 5A1 and 2. Item 5A1, requesting exemption from the competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code Section 26202-484, professional service for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation. If I could have action to that effect.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item 5A2, requesting the engagement with the firm of Preston Henriksen for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation, specifically under open session, item 20C, Dora Herrera individually and as representative of the estate of Reynaldo Herrera et al. Versus City of FAR et al.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And Judge Commissioners, just as a disclosure, Mr. Michael Garza will also be assisting in this case. Item 20D, I do have 4 claims on the open session. Item 20D, claim of Baudillo C. Arriaga. Judge Commissioners, I would like Settlement Authority to make an offer in the amount of $3,250.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries.
Item 20E, claim of Olivia Mesa. I would like Settlement Authority to make an offer in the amount of $1,800.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
20F, claim of Ninfa Gutierrez. Judge Commissioners, again, I'd like Settlement Authority to make an offer in the amount of $1,000.
So, second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item 20G, claim of Juan Rodriguez. I would like Settlement Authority to make an offer in the amount of $400.
Move to approve.
Approve. Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Need a
Thank you,
motion to
Judge.
adjourn.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.